There we go. That's my cue.
Yeah.
The first award that I'd like to present is the Bill Fitzel President's Award, presented annually by the sitting president of SIHR in recognition of outstanding work by a SIHR member in the past year. Now, because of COVID, we didn't have a chance to present these awards in person, so I'd like to start by presenting the winner of last year's award, and that goes to Benoit Cleroux. So Benoit. You can see us on camera.
Well, maybe we can just help you.
Ever the organizer. Thank you. There we go.
You get a little closer.
All right. The official one.
Yes.
Very good.
Merci, thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
JP, the other awards.
That's here.
Now, for 2022, we probably should have given this gentleman an award a lot sooner by virtue of all of the tremendous work that he does on behalf of the society. But okay, thank you. Very good. On behalf of the society, but I want to acknowledge it because he's here today. He's our outgoing vice president, a gentleman that you know from, he's been our official host at so many meetings. He's been our IT provider at some of our Zoom meetings. You know him most recently for his work on 30 and 30, the book projects, and he's going to be presenting twice today. Would you please join me in thanking and welcoming the 2022 winner of the Bill Fitzel President's Award, Bill Spruill. Thank you. Okay.
Where you go?
No, these are the keepers for before. Okay, so we're a little bit of, these are to go. So, okay, there are a couple of other things that we need to do, but I think we're ahead of schedule here by 40 minutes, but that's okay. We'll eat that up real soon.
Well, the one is, in terms, we can ask if there's anyone else that had other business on the condition that they don't spend the next 40 minutes dragging us down the wormhole, but certainly
Okay.
you weren't in Belleville.
Right, okay, so before we conclude with this business informal portion of the meeting, are there any other questions from the floor regarding the business of the organization before we proceed with the presentations?
Can you hear us online?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's Aubrey. Fred, there's a list of citations in the box that said with JP
okay,
that you're missing.
yes.
And
I was just tap dancing here
Yeah,
until I received some instructions. Thank you.
I let you dangle for a moment.
Okay. Yes.
I feel bad about asking this. Has there been any more thought necessarily about partnering to get access to something like one of the document repositories? I know we've talked about in the past, and I can't remember the name of what they use in universities to do the online dissertation searches and the journal searches and that sort of stuff.
I'm not aware of any activities with that specifically. I know there was a hope that we might be collectively be able to participate with things like newspapers.com to have access to their materials, but unfortunately, that's not been successful. They continue to treat us as individuals. Okay, good. Now, yes.
One more question.
Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
Well, just going back a couple of years, I just wondered if there was any movement on the book that had been proposed that involved brothers.
All right. Is Aubrey still with us?
Oh, he just put himself on mute.
Okay.
I don't want to answer that.
Aubrey, there was a question about the brothers book and any progress on that or any plans going forward. If you could unmute yourself there.
Oh, still on mute.
I could read lips though, we're good.
No, he's on mute. He put himself back on mute.
We can't hear you. Oh, now what have I done?
Bear with us here. There'll be a bit of this.
Oh,
Okay.
back? No, he's not.
What's he doing?
Give us a thumbs up, Fred, if you can hear me. Okay, good man. I'm going to blame it on COVID, but also I just got distracted. But the publishers were less interested in receiving proposals, and I put it on hold, but I did a poor job of communicating with the prospective authors. So that is one of my goals for the balance of this year, is to get that on track. So hopefully by the fall meeting, we have some progress to report.
Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? Yeah, I've just got my directions here. I'd also like to announce the winner of the Brian McFarlane Award. The Brian McFarlane Award recognizes SIHR members in good standing as a recognition for continued outstanding research and writing in any media, including the Hockey Research Journal and or presentations at SIHR meetings. Recipients of the award must be members in good standing, and previous recipients are not eligible in any given year. So this year's Brian McFarlane Award goes to longtime SIHR member Dave Stubbs. Dave is a journalist and historian. Dave is a journalist and historian who combines his love of hockey with an appreciation for the history of the game and the people who built it. But in the spirit of Kipling, while he walks with kings and he keeps the common touch, his ability to relate to the biggest stars, yet keep a fan's eye view, is one of the many talents. In his 40-year career as a journalist, 28 with the Montreal Gazette, Dave became friends with, wrote about, and eulogized some of the greats of the game. In 2016, he signed on as a columnist for and historian for NHL.com and has continued the high standards of reporting and historical research in his current position. Dave Stubbs is a published author, and having written Our Game, The History of Hockey in Canada in 2006, and co-authored The Goal with Andrew Cadell in 2015. Dave is proof that often nice guys finish first. As a member in good standing of SIHR, he is a deserving recipient of this year's Brian McFarlane Award. Congratulations to Dave Stubbs. We present the Ernie Fitzsimmons Award for excellence in the field of statistical hockey research in any public media form, including books, documentary, films, websites, blogs, or social media. One need not be a member of SIHR to qualify for the Ernie Fitzsimmons Award. And this year, the Ernie Fitzsimmons Award goes to longtime SIHR member Wilbrod Desprez. Wilbrod came on board when we started entering NHL player records on the SIHR site and has been relentless ever since. Once the bulk of NHL players were entered, he sought additional assignments from Ernie Fitzsimmons, who had a vast amount of other leagues to be entered. Wilbrod incurred personal expenses of $400 to $500 for photocopying and mailing. He repeated this process 4 to 5 more times until the research was on the site. Each year, he scans the internet at season's end and enters stats of any league that has been overlooked. He finds Quebec senior, semi-pro, and pro leagues, as well as universities and tier 2 junior, women, and other stats to help make our site more complete. For the last few years, he has used newspapers.com to go through every league with a fine-tooth comb to ensure that we have the proper wins, losses, ties, plus goals for and against, and ensures the totals balance. That's important. Then he checks every player and goalie to make sure the cumulative individual stats match their league totals. This is a very time-consuming process. As if a score is reversed, it puts everything out of whack and takes time to refine. He seems to be at this 7 days a week, and his lengthy and unrelenting work makes him a worthwhile recipient of this year's Ernie Fitzsimmons Award. Congratulations to Wilbrod Desprez. The Paul Kitchen Award is awarded for the best research project produced during the 2021 calendar year. The criteria for a qualifying project include a book, whether it's printed or digital, documentary, or any other digital form of expression, website, blog, Facebook, etc. One need not be a member to qualify this award. This year, the Paul Kitchen Award is awarded posthumously to Fred Sasakamoose and his co-author Meg Masters for the book Call Me Indian: From the Trauma of Residential School to Becoming the NHL's First Treaty Indigenous Player. Sasakamoose was torn from his home at the age of 7, endured the horrors of residential school for a decade before briefly becoming one of the 120 players in the NHL. He made his official debut in 1954 as a Chicago Blackhawks player, and after 12 games, he returned home. When people tell Sasakamoose's story, this is usually where they end it. They say he left the NHL to return to a family and culture that the Canadian government had ripped away from him. That returning to his family and home was important to him, more important to him than an NHL career. But there was much more in his decision than that. Understanding Sasakamoose's choice means acknowledging the dislocation and treatment of generations of Indigenous peoples. It means considering how a man who spent his childhood as a ward of the government would hear those supposedly golden words, "You are Blackhawks property." Sasakamoose's story was far from over once his NHL dates concluded. He continued to play for another decade in leagues around Western Canada. He became a band counselor, served as a chief, and established athletic programs for kids. He paved a way for youth to find solace and meaning in sports for generations to come. Yet, threaded through these impressive accomplishments were periods of heartbreak and unimaginable tragedy, as well as moments of passion and great joy. This isn't just a hockey story. Sasakamoose's groundbreaking memoir sheds piercing light on Canada's history and Indigenous politics and follows this extraordinary man's journey to reclaim pride in an identity and a heritage that had previously been used against him. Fred Sasakamoose died on November 24th, 2020 at the age of 86, a victim of COVID-19. His son Neil lives in Western Canada, and we were unable to arrange to have him with us by Zoom today. Fred's co-author, Meg Masters, was also unavailable, but congratulations to all of them for this groundbreaking work, the recipients of our 2022 Paul Kitchen Award. Taken care of, is that the last one? So that concludes the awards portion of our meeting. And as I said, we're still, did you want to start at maybe in 10 minutes or do we need a break?
Because we're going to take a break after.
Okay, so I'll turn it back to Ed and we can get going with our presentations. Thank you very much, everyone. Just stop.